Hi, everybody. My name is Melissa Cerrone, and I am the Program and Grants Manager of the Office of Arts and Culture. Hopefully by now you've already reviewed the guidelines for the Creative Venue Recovery Grant, and now I'm just going to walk you through the application process so you can see what our application looks like, how to access it, and get a look at some of the questions before you begin. But as I always say, start with the guidelines, read those through very carefully before you even begin an application. And at the end of the guidelines, it'll tell you how to access submittables, how to set up your account, and how to get into this page, which you're looking at right now. So when you sign into submittables, it's going to show you the grants or the programs that are currently open. What you're going to be looking for is Creative Venues Recovery Grant Round 2 for profits, and you're just going to hit that submit button. It's going to take you to the application. It's going to give you a little bit of information at the beginning, and we're going to ask you, it says, by checking this box, I'm confirming that I've read the complete applications guidelines. I'm going to tell you I've read applications in round 1 that clearly people checked the box, but they had not read the complete guidelines because they were clearly not eligible. But so I'm assuming that if you're going to check this box, you really have read them, and feel free to reach out with questions if you feel like you're still unsure. The second question is, we're going to ask that the request doesn't exceed 50% of your annual budget. So if you are a venue, a performance venue, where the grant is $20,000, your budget would need to be in excess of $40,000. And we will be looking at your annual budget just to make sure of that. So there's the information that'll tell you the size your budget needs to be. So once you've hit that one, the next one, obviously, that I'm located in the city of Sacramento. Please check just in case your business is located in one of those unincorporated areas, which are not considered by our office, the city of Sacramento. So we want you to verify that. By checking the box, I'm confirming my venue meets eligibility requirements. So obviously you've read through the guidelines and you're pretty sure you met the requirements. And then we're going to ask you what type of venue you are, and that's going to affect the application. And this is really important. You're confirming your business is a for-profit business and you qualify as one of the following business types. And then we're going to ask you to select which one you are so that we know what type of business you're applying, and it would need to be one of those. So if you've answered those questions correctly, it will take you to the application. So congratulations, you made it into the application. Again, a little bit of information up front, but this is the most, obviously the business information that we're going to ask you first. We'll ask you for your legal business name, but also your DBA if you go under a different name. Many venues we've noticed do. We want to know the primary grant contact. So who is the person who's filling out this grant application? That's the person we'll be getting in touch with if we have questions about the grant. So we'll ask you for phone number and email address and whether or not you are the CEO of the organization. Important where the business is located. So this would not be a mailing address. This is going to be where the venue is actually located, your physical address, and obviously a mailing address too, if that's different. On the eligibility form, if other was chosen for the for-profit business type, please specify. I'm not 100% sure what that other category would be, but if you don't feel like you fall in any of the categories that we had, please let us know why that is. And of course, it's very important. I'm going to ask you for your employer ID number. So that is required before you move forward. The general information would include your website address, one of your social media or multiple social media addresses, and business mission. That's very important. What is the purpose of your business? Why do you exist? Tell us a little bit about that and be as specific as possible. We'll ask you for the date of the establishment, the month and the year at this particular location. So if you've had multiple locations throughout town, we really only want to know what's going on at this location and how long you've been around. And then we're going to ask you for a brief description of your venue and its programs. And be sure to address programs that qualify your business as a creative venue. I can speak to this a little bit more because I can go back to some of the other applicants in round one. And they talked a lot about other aspects of their businesses. So if they were very active venues that had a restaurant business, they spent more time than maybe they needed to on the restaurant part of their business and less time on the venue part of their business. And that's obviously what we're looking for. So we really want to know, what are your programs? What do you do? What kind of a venue is it? What types of activities do you have? And there's some helpful little information below there telling you for each different type of venue what kind of information we're looking for. Now we're going to get into the three areas which are going to correspond to the rubric that the panel will use to score your application. So the first is community impact. Who is your core audience or constituency? And we want to know, is it a neighborhood or geographically located? Is it a particular cultural community? Is it any other kind of demographic information? We want to know that you know and understand who you serve. So we'd like you not to just put, we serve everybody and anybody. That may be true. You may look around at your audience and it has everybody and anybody, but we want you to dig into that a little bit and tell us a little bit more about how you know this, who the people are, why is it everybody and anybody. Again, you do have a word limit, so some you can talk a little bit more, others are a little bit smaller. We ask how you partner with or engage other local businesses, schools, community groups. So anybody else that you may work with, whether it's for a fundraiser or a collaborative activity, we want to know what you're doing in your community. And then finally, in that section, describe your history of serving patrons and or customers from marginalized communities. So we ask you to explain in any way you can what your relationship is to maybe some of the marginalized communities in Sacramento or in your particular community. Next session is going to be about your artistic impact. So how does your venue highlight Sacramento's reputation as a cultural destination? That could be in a way that you bring people from all over the state or all over the country or the region to your place, but it also could be a particular cultural destination within Sacramento or Sacramento County. So I think that's a way that everybody can answer that question, but just really think about why you are a destination, what sets you apart from everyone else. We want to know as much as we can about the artists served by your venues. You can mention them by name. You could talk about the type of artist. You could talk about the genre of work or the discipline of work, depending on your venue. If you're a bookstore, you can talk about local artists that you support, that you showcase, things like that. We will ask about your payment policy and rate of pay for artists and include justification for scale of pay. We know that different types of venues have different types of scale of pay depending on who the artists are that they bring in, and we totally understand that, but we're going to want to see what it is. If you don't answer that question or you answer it very vaguely, it is going to bring your score down. So it's really important for our purposes to know that artists are being paid and how much. And then finally in that section, describe how your venue helps to either preserve and share cultural heritage or support artists who create and present original work. So it gives you a chance to, maybe choose one that's more important to you. If your venue is very specific to a culture, which is really about preserving the history of that culture in the past, you may answer it somewhat differently than a venue that's really supporting the newest artists that are coming up and maybe emerging artists. But again, you may support both. So really use this as an opportunity to answer in any way that you see fit. And the final section is demonstrating your funding need. And this probably shouldn't be too hard for anybody. We ask a little bit of information from you through a narrative form, like how are you going to spend the money? Why do you need these funds? Why are they critical at this time? This is really important for us, not only for this funding opportunity, but to really get a lay of the land for us to understand better what some of the challenges are that you face. So please use this piece of the application to tell us why you need these funds. We are going to ask you your annual operating budget. And then we're going to have a little table. And this is important. I think a few people did this incorrectly in the last round. So I just want to be sure that in your budget table, when you're looking at column B, where it says grant funds, that when you get to the bottom of the column where it says total, it should not be all of the money that you need to exist for the next year. It should only total either $25,000 or $10,000. You can put in other costs in the other categories, but you don't need to. If you know you have funds delegated to help support one of these areas, feel free to put them in, but we're really looking at the column B. And again, we ask you, don't be pie in the sky about this, be very realistic. These are funds that we want you to use in the most important way. They don't need to be exciting or innovative. We need to know what you need. And if all you need is money for rent and insurance, put it in that category. That's totally fine. And there's a little bit of a breakdown to tell you how we envision you answering some of the questions. So if you're not really sure the difference between non-professional services and professional, it will break that down. And again, at the bottom, it says the total must be $20,000 or $10,000 based on your venue type. So that's the budget table. Should be pretty easy to fill out. Excuse me. And then we do ask your organization demographics. We'd love to know information about your staff. If you don't have paid staff, if you have contracted staff, if you have volunteer staff, again, that's all fine, but we'd like to know how many staff you have. And if you have information about the demographics of your staff, that's very, very helpful to us. So we ask that you fill that section in. And then we get to the attachments, and they shouldn't be too difficult. Again, a projected schedule and a past schedule, and these are all uploads. You can upload them as a PDF, JPEG, and so that should be pretty easy. A copy of a flyer or poster or some other marketing piece so that we do see that you publicly market your work to a wide audience. We're going to ask for your financial information, your 2023 or 2022-23 financial statements, whatever the most recently completed year is. Again, the balance sheet for the month end prior to the application date. So the most completed balance sheet, and we would ask you not to go anywhere further back than August. And we're going to ask for your W-9 form, a PDF, which identifies your current business address, your tax ID, and dated with a signature of an authorized representative. And we want to see evidence, and this is a city requirement, that everybody who does a contract with the city of Sacramento or a grant with the city of Sacramento needs to demonstrate that they are in good standing with the California Secretary of State. So you can either send us a certificate if you have it on hand, or the screenshot. You can go to the site, and there's a link there of the California Secretary of State site, and you could just send us a screenshot. It should say current or active or whatever it would be. And that's it. If you're working on this and you want to do it in more than one go round, save it as a draft. Every time you get out of it, save it. We want you to make sure that you don't lose any of your work. But when you're ready and you've completely finished and you feel really good about what you've done, press submit, and then it will be in our system. So we look forward to getting lots of applications. We're very excited to be able to extend this grant outside of particular districts and get it to venues throughout the city. So good luck with this. And again, reach out if you have questions.